They say summer changes everything, but I didn't expect mine to unravel because of a pair of tight shorts and my brother's best friend's stupidly perfect legs. I hadn't seen Liam in over a year, not since he left town for college, grew his hair out, and started looking like he belonged on the cover of some outdoorsy fitness magazine. He was always attractive, annoyingly so, but time had sculpted him into something else. Something I couldn't ignore, no matter how hard I tried. When my brother Tyler invited me to join them at the lakehouse for the long weekend, I didn't think twice. I needed the break. College had drained me, and home felt suffocating lately, like I was always walking on eggshells, pretending not to notice the things I noticed, like the way Liam used to look at me too long when he thought I wasn't watching. But this weekend was supposed to be chill. Just 3 guys, some old memories, and maybe a few beers by the fire pit. Except the second I walked onto the sunlit dock and saw Liam bent over, adjusting a kayak strap with those tiny shorts hugging every muscle like a second skin. My brain completely short-circuited. Eli. He turned around, grinning. Damn. You grew up. I blinked. Yeah. So did you. Smooth. Real smooth. His smile deepened as he stepped forward to hug me, his palm pressing warmly against my back. He smelled like salt water and cedar wood, and for a second, I forgot how to breathe. When he pulled away, his fingers brushed my waist a beat too long. Tyler had already dropped his duffel and disappeared into the house, leaving us alone in the golden afternoon light. The lake shimmered behind Liam like glass, and all I could think about was how different everything suddenly felt. How different I felt. We used to hang out in groups, me tagging along, the little brother no one paid much attention to. But now, standing in front of him, with his smile tugging at something deep inside me, I wasn't sure I wanted to be invisible anymore. Still remember how to paddle? He asked, his voice playful. I guess we'll find out, I said, trying not to stare at the curve of his grin, or worse, his thighs. As we hauled gear toward the cabin, I caught myself glancing back at him again and again. Maybe it was just the heat. Maybe it was the nostalgia. Or maybe this weekend wasn't going to be as simple as I thought. The lake house hadn't changed much. Same creaky porch swing, same uneven floorboards that groaned under your weight like they were complaining. But the air felt heavier somehow, like it knew we weren't the same people we were the last time we were here. Liam tossed his bag on the bunk next to mine and flopped down like he owned the place. Still smells like wet wood and teenage B.O., he said, scrunching his nose. Feels like home. I laughed, dropping my stuff near the door. You mean your B.O., right? You were the one who refused to shower for 3 straight days. That was survival training, he grinned. You know, build immunity. Pretty sure you just forgot your shampoo. He grinned wider and threw a pillow at me. I caught it mid-air, heart hammering faster than the moment deserved. That was the thing about Liam. He made everything feel easy. Even now, after all the awkward glances and the year-long silence, we slipped into our old rhythm like it hadn't been broken. He teased me. I pushed back. We laughed. And underneath it all, I kept wondering if he noticed the way I looked at him now, if he felt it too. We ended up doing everything and nothing that first day, unpacking, dragging kayaks out to the dock, cracking open cheap beers by the fire pit, once Tyler joined us again. I found myself watching Liam's mouth when he laughed, the way his lips curled just before he lost it completely. And when he caught me looking, I quickly looked away, pretending to adjust my hoodie or squint at the sky. Later that night, a problem arose. Tyler emerged from the hallway holding 2 sleeping bags. Okay, so turns out the raccoons got to the 3rd one. I frowned. Seriously? Dead serious. That thing's shredded. Liam shrugged, unfazed. Guess someone's bunking with me. My mouth went dry. I mean, I can take the couch. Dude, Liam said, standing up and stretching, his shirt lifting just enough to show a sliver of skin. The couch is lumpy as hell, and it squeaks. We'll fit. Tyler nodded. Yeah, no big deal. You two used to share bunks when we were kids. When we were kids. That was the catch, wasn't it? Right, I said, forcing a laugh. Not weird at all. But that night, as I stood brushing my teeth and trying to calm the swarm of nerves, in my stomach, I kept thinking about how small that bunk looked, and how close Liam would be, and how there was no way I'd be able to sleep. When I stepped into the room, he was already lying back in the bed, one arm behind his head, the other lazily flipping through something on his phone. He looked up, gave me a soft grin. Hope you don't kick. I tried to smile. Only if I'm dreaming. He raised an eyebrow, then smirked. Guess we'll see what kind of dreams you have. Was that teasing? Innocent joking? Something else? I couldn't tell. My brain was swimming too fast. I climbed in carefully, keeping to the edge of the mattress like it was some invisible line I couldn't cross. The room was quiet, save for the hum of night insects outside the window. Every tiny shift of the bed felt magnified. I could feel the heat from his body beside me, the rise and fall of his breath. Neither of us said much. But once, when I rolled onto my side to face the wall, I felt his knee brush against mine. He didn't move it away, and I didn't either. The next day started off like a dream. Warm sun, glassy lake, the smell of sunscreen and grilled burgers drifting through the air. Tyler suggested a hike up to the Overlook Trail, a classic every summer. The one that ended in this ridiculous panoramic view of the lake that looked straight out of a travel brochure. But about halfway up, the sky turned. 1 minute we were laughing, swatting at mosquitoes, and the next, thunder cracked so loud it made my heart lurch. The air shifted, charged and cool, and before I could even say, uh-oh, the rain came down in heavy sheets. We passed a ranger's shelter like 5 minutes back. Liam yelled over the downpour. Come on! Tyler was already sprinting ahead. By the time Liam and I caught up, soaked and breathless, the little wooden lean-to was barely enough to fit all three of us. Tyler shook out his jacket, muttered something about how his phone was getting no signal, and then promptly passed out on a bench with his hoodie over his face, which left me and Liam shoulder to shoulder, huddled in the back corner with rain. Hammering the tin roof. Water dripped from his curls, trailing down his neck. His shirt clung to him like second skin, the wet fabric outlining every inch of muscle. I tried not to look. I failed. He caught me staring. I looked away fast, cheeks burning. You cold? He asked, voice low and weirdly tender. I shrugged. A little. Without warning, he reached over and tugged me closer, throwing half his towel over my shoulders. It was damp, but warm where it had been resting on his neck. There, he murmured, voice near my ear. Better? I nodded, barely trusting myself to speak. We sat like that for a long while. The storm raged around us, but inside the little shelter, everything felt still. The tension was thick, like the air between us knew something I wasn't ready to say. I could feel the heat of his leg against mine. His breath was steady, calm. I wanted to lean into him. I wanted him to want that too. You've changed a lot, he said suddenly. I blinked. What? He looked down at his hands, then sideways at me. Since the last time we were all up, here. You seem older, quieter, like you've been thinking a lot. Is that your polite way of saying I got weird? He grinned. No, it's my way of saying I noticed. My chest tightened. That word, noticed, sounded so simple coming from him. But it wasn't. Not when you spent months wondering if someone saw you, really saw you. I think I'm still figuring stuff out, I said softly. He nodded, his gaze dropping briefly to my mouth before flicking back up to my eyes. Me too. Silence stretched between us again. Not uncomfortable. Not exactly. I used to wonder, I said, my voice barely audible under the rain. "If you ever thought about that night at the lake, the one where we stayed up till sunrise on the dock," his lips quirked. "The night you told me I was your hero for scaring off that snake." I smiled despite myself. "No, the part after that, when we laid there, and you told me about your mom, about how you used to sleep with the lights on. It felt like, I don't know, like we were closer than we should have been." Liam was quiet for a beat. Then, "Yeah, I remember." He shifted slightly, angling toward me more. The towel slipped from his shoulder, and our arms touched. "Bare, skin to bare skin. Sometimes I think about that night too," he added, "more than I should." My heart pounded so hard I could barely hear the rain anymore. I felt like I was on the edge of something, like one wrong move would send us crashing off the cliff into something we couldn't take back. But he didn't move away. In fact, his fingers brushed mine. Light, hesitant. "You're shaking," he whispered. "I'm fine," I lied. He turned fully now, his knee bumping mine. "Eli," he said. My name sounded different in his mouth this time, softer. "You don't have to hide it, you know." I stared at him, chest rising and falling. Too fast. "Hide what?" He gave me a look that said, "You know exactly what." He didn't say anything more. He just stayed there, inches away, eyes flicking between mine like he was searching for permission. My throat tightened. I wanted to reach for him. I wanted to close the space. But something inside me, fear maybe, or years of self-doubt, held me back. Instead I whispered, "This will change everything." "I know," he said. "But maybe it should." Then thunder cracked again. And this time, it wasn't the storm that made me flinch. The storm didn't stop for hours. Tyler was still knocked out on the bench, snoring softly beneath his hoodie, completely unaware that the air inside the shelter had turned electric. And I don't mean from lightning. Liam and I sat there in silence, the kind that's so heavy it presses on your chest. The kind where everything you've been holding back wants to erupt, but fear glues your lips shut. The only sound was the rain on the roof. That, and my heartbeat. He kept glancing at me like he was waiting, giving me space, or daring me to close. I wasn't sure which, maybe both. "You ever feel like—" I started, then stopped. My throat locked up. He waited, patient. I tried again, like something's been building up for so long inside you that if you don't let it out, it'll eat you alive. He turned, his face open, raw. "Yeah, all the time." Our eyes met. There wasn't a joke on his lips now. No teasing smile. "Just honesty." "Liam," I said, and his name felt shaky in my mouth. "I think I've been trying not to feel this for a long time, but I can't anymore. Not after being here. Not after the way you looked at me yesterday, or how you pulled me close today like it meant something." He opened his mouth, but I cut him off with a breathless laugh. God, I sound dramatic. Maybe it's the storm. Maybe I've just held it in too long. He shifted closer, his brow furrowed with something that looked almost like pain. "No, don't take it back. Not now." "I like you," I said, the words so quiet I could barely hear them myself. "And not just in a you're my brother's hot friend and you look amazing in shorts kind of way. I mean I like you, as in, I've been thinking about you since that night at the lake, and it hasn't gone away." His breath hitched. "Eli, you don't have to say anything," I rushed. "I know it's complicated. I know you're probably straight or confused or I'm not straight." That stopped me cold. He blinked at me, like maybe he couldn't believe he said it out loud. I thought I was, for a while, or I told myself I was because it was easier. But You're not imagining this. Whatever's between us, it's real. My lips parted, but I had no words. Just this dizzy, soaring feeling in my chest that made me want to cry and laugh and shake all at once. Ever since that night, he continued, voice softer now, I've replayed it more times than I can count. The way you looked at me. The way you didn't say anything, like I was supposed to know. And I wanted to. God, I wanted to ask what it meant. But I didn't. I was scared. Scared of what it meant about me. About us. He looked down at our joined knees. His fingers twitched, almost like he wanted to reach for mine, but wasn't sure if he was allowed. I kept telling myself I was imagining things, that you just needed a friend or someone to talk to. But every time I saw you again, it got harder to believe that. I felt my throat tighten. Why didn't you say anything? Because I'm not good at this, he said, laughing bitterly. I'm good at flirting with strangers and pretending I don't care. But with you, I never knew how to be casual. That made me smile. You could have fooled me. He looked at me then, really looked, and this time there was no hesitation. In his eyes, just this deep, aching truth. I like you too, Eli. I've been trying not to, but I do. My breath caught. I don't know what this makes me. I don't have a label for it. I don't even know what the hell we're supposed to do now, but I'm tired of pretending this doesn't mean something. Something inside me crumbled at those words. The wall I'd been building since I was 15, when I first noticed him watching me from the dock, his face unreadable under the moonlight, collapsed in one soft breath. I leaned in slowly, afraid he'd pull back. He didn't. Our foreheads touched first, just that. A quiet, tentative connection, like a bridge being built from both ends. Then his hand came up, hesitant fingers brushing along my jaw, soft and reverent, like he was learning me by touch. Is this okay? He whispered. I nodded, barely able to breathe. Yeah, it's more than okay. He kissed me. It wasn't perfect, not like the movies. Our noses bumped, and my heart was thundering so loud I almost missed the way he sighed into my mouth like he'd been holding that breath for years. But it was real. His lips were warm and a little chapped. His hand slid into my hair. Mine clutched. His hoodie, fingers trembling. It wasn't just a kiss. It was everything we hadn't said until now. It was finally. When we pulled back, the rain had softened into a mist. We stayed close, noses brushing, breaths mingling. I didn't expect this, I murmured. Me neither. I thought you'd freak out. I still might, he said, smiling. But not about you. I leaned into him, letting my head rest against his shoulder. He didn't flinch. He just wrapped an arm around me like it was the most natural thing in the world. Tyler snored loudly from across the shelter. We both snorted. Do you think he's going to kill us? I asked, only half joking. Liam shrugged. Eventually. But I don't really care right now. Neither do I. He kissed the top of my head. I closed my eyes. Outside, the storm passed. But inside the shelter, something else had finally broken. Open, quiet, raw, and honest. And maybe, just maybe, this was the beginning of something neither of us knew we needed. When the rain finally stopped, we didn't move. The clouds had thinned, letting slivers of moonlight spill into the shelter. Tyler was still dead to the world across the bench, snuggled into his sleeping bag with the blissful ignorance of someone who hadn't just witnessed a full-blown emotional earthquake. Liam's hoodie smelled like cedar and rain, and something warm underneath that I didn't have a name for yet. His arm was still around me, his thumb tracing slow, thoughtless circles against my upper arm. I didn't want him to stop. So, I said quietly, are we going to pretend this didn't happen in the morning, or? He chuckled, his lips brushing. My hair. Do you want to pretend? No, but I don't want to make things weird either. Too late for that, he said, pulling back just enough so I could see the smirk on his face. You confessed your love to me during a thunderstorm. That's peak drama, I rolled my eyes, smiling. I said I liked you. Uh-huh. And the forehead touch? That was some notebook-level stuff. Shut up. He laughed, and I couldn't help but join in. It felt good, easy, to laugh with him like this, even with the air still heavy from everything we'd just admitted. The tension had shifted. No longer a taut, unspoken pressure, but something warmer, curious, hopeful. After a pause, he sobered a little. I meant what I said earlier. I don't know exactly what this is or where. It goes, but I don't want to run from it anymore. My chest tightened in the best way. Same, I said. Even if it's complicated. Even if my brother loses his mind when he finds out. Liam grinned. Tyler's always been dramatic. He'll yell, call me a traitor, maybe throw a few pine cones, then he'll get over it. You're awfully confident, he shrugged. I've never felt this way about anyone before. And I don't want to throw it away because of someone else's expectations. His words hit deeper than I expected. You're really not scared, I asked, about what this means for you, for how people will see you? He hesitated. I am, kinda terrified, actually. But I'm more scared of not trying, of pretending this never happened and going back to being just your friend. I stared at him for a beat. You weren't ever just my friend. The look he gave me then, half awe, half relief, made my stomach flutter. We sat like that for a while, leaning into each other, letting the quiet speak for us. Then he nudged me. So, do I still have to wear tight shorts to keep your attention? I groaned. God, don't bring those up right now. His eyes sparkled. You stared at them so hard I thought you were going to pass out. You knew? Eli, you were practically drooling. I shoved him, laughing. I hate you. No, you don't. He was right. I really, really didn't. His hand found mine, fingers threading through easily like we'd done it 100 times. You know we'll have to talk about this when we get home, he said gently. What it means, how we want to be, around people, around your family. Yeah, I know. And I want to take it slow, he added. No pressure to define anything right away. We just see where this goes. Together, I nodded. Together sounds good. He leaned in and kissed me again, soft, unrushed, like we had all the time in the world. Somewhere behind us, Tyler snorted and rolled over. We broke apart, grinning like idiots, but neither of us moved away. Tomorrow's going to be weird, isn't it? I whispered. Probably. I looked at him. But worth it? He squeezed my hand. Absolutely. And as the clouds parted and the stars peeked through above us, I believed him. Back at the house, everything felt sharper. The air, the sun, the way Liam's hand brushed against mine every few minutes like he couldn't help himself. We were different now, but only in ways that mattered. Tyler was still clueless. After waking up in the shelter, he'd grumbled about back pain, cursed the weather, and asked if we had any snacks. Not once did he notice the lingering looks Liam and I had exchanged, or the way I'd accidentally on purpose bumped my knee against his during the hike down. Maybe he didn't want to notice, or maybe we were just that subtle. But something in me had shifted. When we got back to the house, Liam and I stood at the back of his car while Tyler disappeared inside to check if the Wi-Fi was still alive. The driveway was warm from the sun, but I still had goosebumps from the way Liam was looking at me, like he couldn't believe this was real. So, he said, leaning casually against the trunk, what happens now? I hesitated. Well, we pretend like nothing happened. You go back to being my brother's charming, oblivious best friend, and I go back to watching you wear inappropriate shorts around the house without saying anything. He raised an eyebrow. Inappropriate? Obscenely tight. He smirked. I'll take that as a compliment. You should. There was a pause. Then quietly I added, I don't want to hide this forever. Liam's smile softened. Me neither. A breeze stirred the pine trees behind us. I looked down, unsure of how to say what I really meant. I want to figure this out with you, I said. Even if it's messy, even if it takes time, I want to try. Liam reached out and hooked his pinky through mine. Just that. No sweeping gesture. Just something simple, honest and real. I'm in, he said. All the way. And just like that, something settled in me. Something that had been tense and knotted for weeks, maybe longer, finally let go. He wasn't asking me to have it all figured out. He just wanted to walk through it with me. We heard the front door creak open behind us, followed by Tyler's voice. You two done making out in the driveway, or should I give you another 10 minutes? My eyes went wide, but Liam didn't flinch. He just squeezed my pinky before letting go and calling out, 5 more minutes, thanks. Perverts, Tyler shouted, but he didn't sound mad, just tired and amused. I met Liam's eyes and couldn't help but laugh. It was the kind of laugh that came from relief, from having someone who knew exactly how weird your life was and didn't run from it. Guess he knows now, I said. Guess he does. We didn't talk about what came next in great detail. There were no sweeping promises or dramatic speeches, just quiet understanding, a shared look, a decision. Later that night, while Tyler yelled at the TV and devoured half a pizza, Liam slipped into the kitchen while I was cleaning up and pressed a folded note into my hand. I opened it after he left. It was simple. Next time, let's not wait for a thunderstorm. Underneath was a doodle of a very tight pair of shorts. I grinned like an idiot. Outside the window, the stars were back. Clearer this time. No clouds. Just sky and silence and the feeling that something real was finally beginning. And for the first time in a long time, I wasn't afraid of what came next.